I'm oral historian Mike Chappell. Today, June 21st, 2014, I'm interviewing Dr. Lawrence Frohman for the Endocrine Society at its annual meeting being held this year at McCormick Place, Chicago.
My overall interest through this period, and it remained true for a couple of decades, was looking at the regulation of growth hormone secretion. This was the bottom line. And one could look at this at various aspects. We looked at this in a number of clinical studies looking at growth hormone secretion. We looked at it in animal studies. And as we were getting more involved in looking at growth hormone, it became obvious that the key to growth hormone secretion was the secretion of the releasing substances from the hypothalamus. And so if you can say that it was like Jack climbing the beanstalk, we climbed up the pituitary stalk to the hypothalamus and began to focus on the hypothalamus, and that's where the growth hormone releasing hormone factors story began to be developed. Well, it was a heady time because this was the time when other hypothalamic releasing hormones were being identified in other laboratories, particularly in the laboratory of Andrew Shalley and Roger Guillemin, subsequently Wiley Vale. And the growth hormone releasing hormone was one of the stubborn hangouts that there had been many attempts to try to identify. We were involved in basically being a bioassay laboratory for those factors when they had been purified by some of the other investigators. But it was running into one problem after another. It could not be found, and it really turned out that it was by moving outside of the hypothalamus that it was possible to find the growth hormone releasing hormone, and this happened purely out of a chance association. There had been reports of people who developed acromegaly, which is caused by too much growth hormone secretion from a pituitary tumor, who had had tumors in other locations of the body, and in whom, when the tumors were removed, the acromegaly improved. And so that it became clear that these people must have a growth hormone releasing hormone secreted what we call ectopically from a source that the hormone normally is not present in. And I ended up giving a medical grand rounds at Henry Ford Hospital one day and was able to meet with a pathologist who told me that he had in his freezer a tumor from the lung that had been removed about 10 years previously in a patient who fit that clinical description. And because it had been in the freezer, materials in the tissue were preserved, and we got them and were able to extract from them a substance which had growth hormone releasing activity. And it was the start of the solution to that quest for finding growth hormone releasing hormone, which was the only one of the hypothalamic hormones that was first identified from a tissue other than the hypothalamus. Well, the society has been my both scientific and clinical home for many years, and it is a society that I have very strong feelings for, and I have been very happy to contribute when asked to contribute to the activities of the society. When I first joined the society, this was when I was still in Buffalo. I remember it was a relatively small group with perhaps 300 to 400 people attending the meeting. We had at 2 simultaneous sessions for part of the time and a single session for the rest of the time. And it has been very exciting to see the growth of the society and the increase in the interest of people in attending society's meetings and all of the various activities that the society has undertaken in terms of both becoming an international organization as well as helping develop people interested in the society, both among minority, limited access individuals, as well as people with peripheral interests to endocrinology. And I just heard that the attendance at this Endocrine Society meeting is over 10,000 individuals, which has set a record. And I think that's it's a very exciting undertaking. And to have been a part of helping this society enhance itself and enhance its growth has just been, again, very rewarding to me.